So it turns out the bike is fast, but not quite that fast. So grab yourself a brew and let's talk about it. For the comparison, we'll be using the local trails here in London. But first we need to get there and we're going to use the Greenway. The Greenway is a really cool green space built over a Victorian sewer line. It's connected with loads of gardens and connects to quite a number of neighbourhoods in the area. What makes it cool is that you come across random graffiti things like this. This is one of my favourite spots along the Greenway. It overlooks onto the Channel Sea River and the Lee River with really good views of Canary Wharf. There's a lot of greenery around here and even quite a number of birds. The wildlife can be pretty savage here in East London. The other day I saw a seagull eating a dead pigeon in one of the canals. We're now entering the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park in Stratford. You can see the aquatic centre behind me as I get in some practice for Red Bull Rampage. So everything here is part of the Legacy project after the Olympics, and this was the main stadium which is now used for West Ham United. We're not really interested in that, we're interested in the velodrome because right behind it they created this really cool mountain bike and skills area. So on a sunnier day than this, I got some really good clips of the track, so we'll just transport to a sunny day right about now. So overall, the tracks here are pretty tame, mainly for XC, but there are some tasty drop-offs and a few rock rolls. So I've been coming to these trails for a few years, so I know them really well and I can do consistent efforts here. So I think the bike was designed for these sections of trails, being rigid and responsive, but big knobbly tires to get some traction and also take out the vibration. In general, I was quite fast, and as you can see I got some air, and just as a nice clip we got some slow-mo. It wasn't until we came across the rough stuff and the rock gardens that I came across some of the drawbacks. So I had no issues with the capability of the bike, but it did absolutely rattle me to bits. I felt like I was beaten up and I got arm pump on these tiny little sections of track here. So I didn't get a timed run in on this nice sunny day, which is why I had to come back one evening after work. But anyway, we can head back to the flat and look at Strava and see the results. So this was the longest Strava segment on the day. It's 4.3 Ks, and then I ended up getting a personal record that evening. So I got 16 minutes, where normally I'm at about 20 minutes. Now I don't have that many recordings of this segment, just because when I go to Stratford I session certain sections or I take break. But as you can see, it's one of the fastest. There's a natural trend with my fitness throughout the year, so faster times during the summer and slower during the winter. But overall I was quite surprised with this, and then the latest results would have been on my stump jumper, whereas in the first results would have been on my cross country bike. So looking at a bit more of a technical Strava segment, centre back, this is one where I had the big roll in or drop in, and then there's a climb after. I was only 2 seconds off the fastest time of 2 minutes 7 seconds. I was a bit surprised by that, especially just being 2 seconds off. I felt like if I'd sprinted up the hill I could have matched it. So what the Strava is saying is that the bike was actually pretty quick, but more about how I felt. It, as I said before, it just rattled me to bits. I had aching shoulders after it. I didn't want to ride that far, I just kind of wanted to do more of the mellow trails. So I'm pretty sure that all the fastest times I have on Strava was with my old GT Pantera, the one you can see now. It was a 27.5 plus tired cross country bike, and I think it was pretty much designed for Stratford. Knobbly tires, pretty fast. I really loved the bike, but I kept having issues with the quick release rear wheel, kept bending the axle, so I just got rid of it to replace it with my current stump jumper. So my current mountain bike is a 2021 Specialized stump jumper. It's fitted more towards the enduro, so I put a 36 fork on and then put enduro tires on it as well. I'll do a future bike check on this, so I'll leave the details for that video. So I'm assuming everyone recognized this lovely character, Craig from Second Life Bikes. I went along with his Krusty Cruise 2 back in May, and just as a bonus I wanted to share some of the clips I got of the day. This was also on my Instagram if you follow me on Instagram. And yes, some of these clips were used in Craig's videos. I sent them all the clips I got, and then some of them made them into his edit. As a bonus, here's me washing my bike after the ride. In the UK where I live, the dirt is just full of clay, and when it gets muddy it just gets everywhere, especially around London, and this was no different. So yeah, just pottery clay everywhere all over the bike. And yeah, so here's just me for the next few minutes just washing it. I'll go over how I wash it, but just sit back and relax. So first things first, I always give my bikes just a good hose down. No pressure washer, I don't want to get any water into the bearings. This is the maximum pressure I'll do, and then just in select areas to get off the hard caking. Yeah, and then we get some soap on all the different areas. What I didn't get a clip of was me spraying degreaser on the drivetrain first. So while the drivetrain stuff is all soaking in, I can give everything just a bit of an agitation, get into the nuts and crannies. I always like doing the contact points, so handlebar, grips, brake levers, then give the side tires a bit of a clean. The actual knobs were pretty okay, I'd ridden around a few times. Give the brush a rinse, and then I can get and tackle the drivetrain. So yeah, just get a stiff brush, agitate all the dirt, agitate the chain. I didn't use a chain cleaner, just use the brush. So after all the degreasing, I get some soapy water and then give the drivetrain another clean to wash off all the grease. And then just a general hose down of the drivetrain, and then I can give a hose down of the whole bike after this. Get it nice and clean and see where we are, see how clean the bike is. Get all the soap off and get into all the other nuts and crannies. Hub, frame, anything that I put soap on, I want it rinsed off with plenty of water, just to make sure none of the salt in the cleaner can cause any rusting or just leave any residue. So after all of that, the brake calipers still needed cleaning, so I took off the wheels, and then I got some brake cleaner degreaser, could spray that down, and then after this I could get the brush just to agitate it. So yeah, it came out really well. It came off just pretty much as I was wiping it, and then yeah, get some extra clumps of dirt off of the derailleur. And again, didn't show, but I sprayed it down with soap, give everything a wipe down, get a nice dry cloth, clean down the chain. Nothing too fancy, I just want to get most of the dirt off. Again, just going in between the chain. And this is how you loop a chain, applying a drop of lube to each link. This is something I've stolen off Bike Farmer. So it's a little oil dispenser with a needle nose, and then I drop it in all the screws or anywhere where there's any movement. It's wet lube, so it should get into all the moving parts, and then also have some sort of water repellency. Then I can get into cleaning my shoes. They're still pretty muddy from the ride. So yeah, just some soap, rinse off the brush, not hosing down my shoes but hosing down the brush. Then I can start to rinse off the soap, and then the second time rinse off, and then I have some nice, well, I call them nice clean shoes. They're good enough for who they are. Now we can stare at a nice clean bike. So just to note, I only pay particular attention to my drivetrain and the brakes. Everything else, as you can see, can be a bit scruffy or unpolished or a bit damp, but I really don't care. I only care about the drivetrain working and feeling great. So as always, thanks for watching to the end of the video. Again, I'm uploading these as and when I get to edit them, but any support is muchly appreciated. Thank you. And yeah, make yourself a brew, ride your bike, and enjoy your day.